Hello and welcome once again on a Monday, live in the How to Craft Network studio. It's a lovely day today, isn't it? For people out there that don't know me, my name's Simon Williamson, and I'm here from AVAGO-INK Designs. It's been a lovely time lately. We came in yesterday for the opening day for the shop. I can see some people are already on at the moment, so Stephanie, hello to you. It was lovely meeting you as well yesterday, and I can see there's lots of other people on as well, like Denise, Bridget, Sarah, Phil, Irene. I don't think I've missed anybody off that list, but thanks for joining me. It really does make a difference. And if you don't already know, but if you do it, the notifications, you'll be kept informed, of any upcoming announcements, and also you'll get told when we're coming live as well, which means that you don't miss a show, which is what the point is, isn't it? So, without further ado, let's have a look at the first demonstration I've got for you. It's a really good one, this one. I enjoy this. I had to play around with the IZINK sprays, and I've come up with this little card for today. So it's very shiny, so I hope you can see that. Very glittery and shiny, and we've got a lot of texture going on in the background with the scoreboard technique. So let's show you how we created this. I just want to read the thing. It says, Sarah says, "Hi Simon, so you but couldn't speak as you were watching Gorgeous Colour." Oh, you should have said hello, Sarah. I want to beat you, I promise you. To start off this card, I've got a little square of card that I've already pre-cut, which is about 5.5 inch square. And what I'll be doing is I want to put some scoreboard lines onto this. I'm going to turn this onto an angle, and I've already put a little pencil mark on the bottom of my board so I know where it lines up with the number 4. I'm going to use that as my positioning. And all I'm going to do is create a pattern. So for this one, I'm going to score down the 4 line. I'm going to do one either side of it. I'm going to move over to the 5 and do the same, one either side. I'm just going to build up this pattern. And you could do lots of different patterns, but I tend to like this one. And the 7. And then we're just going to carry on this side now. We've got the 3. Another 2. I do love a scoreboard, I've got to say. It's one of those tools that you don't really use as much as you could. And it's a really good way of creating backgrounds without worrying about embossing folders and things like that. I've got all my lines put in that way, so I don't think you can see that. If I tilt it that way, you might be able to get a better look. You can see the 3 lines are in there in stripes. I'm just going to turn my page around the other side now, line it back up with the corner in the 4, and then down here, I'm going to do exactly the same. So down the 4, one either side. And 5. I'm doing well now. I've not slipped out of these grooves yet. I'm not going to tempt fate though. And the 7. And then move to this side. The 3. And this scoreboard is the one from the Eureka. So if you've got this at home, it's a good way to use it a little bit more. And there we go. I'm just going to move that to one side. So you can see now, I've got a really nice pattern on them. I'm not sure if I can show you on the camera, but I can see it there well. Got a nice little grid formation on there. We're going to make that pop a little bit more now using some of the IZINK sprays. So let me get my box in. So we like to get a bit messy. Put that in there. And the 2 colours I'm going to use for this one, I've got the JUANE pastel and the blue CLAIR. So I've got the nice yellow and blue. And these are ones with the iridescent mica in. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a shake up. And what I want to do is I'm going to actually show this out. I'm going to do it a darker blue at the top and then blend it down, and then a dark yellow at the bottom and blend it up. So we get like a bit of a 2-tone on this. So we'll start with the blue. And I'm going to go in with the yellow. I like that. I'm just going to bring that out of the box, and I'll put that to one side to dry while I get my next piece. I've also pre-cut another square, which is just a plain piece of card. I'm going to do the same with the ink. So I'm going to do the blue at the top, yellow at the bottom. So we'll put that into the box. We'll spray it darker at one side. Bring that lovely yellow up. And we'll bring that out. Just put my box down there for a second. Just put that there to be drying. I'll just give my hands a wipe so I don't get ink everywhere. So Lynn says, hello Simon everyone. Sounds like everyone had a wonderful time yesterday. It was lovely to see Carl's demonstration on YouTube. It was. Carl is brilliant, isn't she? And she did some lovely demonstrations. If you haven't already seen that, it is still on YouTube, so I'd advise you go and have a look. It were really good. It were nice to see how she put a project together so fast as well. Okay, so I'm going to bring up my stamping platform now. And on this one here, I'm going to use the 3 dinosaurs that I chose for this project. So we've got the flying one, put that one up there. We've got the one that's walking. We'll put that one over there. Get them on this card. And we've got the one that's sat down. I'm just going to pop them into place, make sure they pick up. I'm just going to stamp these in black ink, so I'm going to be using the VERT black. Ooh, I'll get that in a second. Give that a good push down. So I'm stamping all my elements that I need for this card so that it's got time to dry when we spray it with the ink. I'm just going to go in a little bit more around its head. Pick up a bit more ink. There we go, I'm fine with that. I'll take those out. We'll get rid of those stamps so we don't have a mess. And then for the sentiment part, which is this bit, I've brought in the little dinosaur that's peeking around the corner. So I've got that stamp there, and I brought in the sentiment, always be yourself, unless you can be a dinosaur, then always be a dinosaur. So we've got that one there. And then just to go with it, I've got 2 of its little footprints. So if I lay this out ready, I think we're going to have him there, and our sentiment up to there, and then we'll just finish it off with a footprint going either way, I think about there. I'll just use that magnet to hold that down. We'll pick those up. And the same VERT black ink. Just going to give this a really good crisp stamping. That down. And I'm happy with that. We've got a nice image on there, so we'll just take that away. And just move these stamps out of the way. I always forget I've got stamps in the Eureka when I'm at home and make a mess of the project, so I'm trying to be a bit conscious and do a little bit more in order. Right, so we've got our lovely colourful dinosaurs, or there will be in a second. I'm going to bring in my box again. We're going to give these a spritz in these yellow and blue. I'm just going to mix the colours up so we've got a bit of each colour on each dinosaur. So there we go, happy with that. We'll just bring that out to be drying. And then while we've got our sentiment, let's get that in. So we're going to give a little bit of a blue and a yellow to this one. So same again, just a light spritz across the top. I've not gone as heavy on this one, so I think the sentiment pops out a bit more. There we go. And let's bring that out. And I'm just going to use my heat gun now just to make sure these are all dry so we don't ruin this project when we compile it together. Let's move on to the dinosaurs. So Lynn's having a belated birthday by the looks of it, so happy birthday, love. Just make sure them little splodges are done. There we go. Right, so we're ready to die cut our dinosaurs out. So I'm going to bring in my die plates now and the corresponding dies. And we'll get these characters already cut out for assembly. I brought some low tack tape. A bit lower tack than last week, so hopefully it don't rip things. Put that on there. We'll go around this little fella. And then this top one. Put onto there. And trap them into place. We'll put that through for cutting. Right, and while that's doing that, I'm just going to get some scissors. Just get, excuse me, 2 sets, so I'll just reach across with some. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut around this little dinosaur's hand, so it's like peeking around. So I've got this like a bit of an extra bit here. So we're going to go around this. I love how sparkly these sprays are, I've got to say. I'll just take that up. I'm just going to bring in my trimmer now. I'm just going to neaten this up a little bit so we know where to put it along this bit. Put it that way. I think we'll cut it about there. Move it out of the way. Let's get our dinosaurs back in. The answers, love to meet you. Oh, it was nice to meet you as well, Lan. It was a really nice day, weren't it? And it's nice to see the craft shop reopened, so it's been a long time coming. I'm sure we'll all meet again soon as well, so it's nice. Nice community, isn't it? Move them out the way. Move the plates out the way. All right then, so let's start mounting these up. So I'm going to start off with the biggest one, and I've already pre-cut a black piece of card for this to mount onto. So let's get this stuck down. I think I'm going to use tape runner just for speed. And just run that around the edge, make sure we catch all them loose bits. I'm going to pop that on there. And it should line up perfectly. I'll just give that a push down from the other side, then I don't get my dirty fingers onto it. That's lovely, so we've got that one. And then I've already got a mount for our scoreboard technique one, so I'm going to do the same with the tape runner around the edges to make sure it's secure. You could use wet glue as well if you prefer, but just for speed, I find this a bit easier. Let's put that over, get that good press down. We've got our lovely square made up there. And then I have got a scrap of black paper now to do our sentiment. So let's get this on there. I will line it up in this corner. Give that a push down. And then I can re-trim around its little paws with the scissors. Get rid of that bit. And I'll just bring my trimmer back in, just take this out so make sure it's really straight. I'll put that under there. Use that little metal gauge so I know where it's going to be cutting. And there we go. All right, so let's start getting this built up. So I think this needs a little bit more definition actually. So what I'm going to do is just bring in my stencil and I'm just going to put that on there. And I'm just going to mask off with a piece of scrap paper the areas I don't want it to spray onto. So if I cover the stencil, the actual sentiment part up, I'll be able to put that down there. And I can just lightly bring a bit more of that in. We'll just lift that off. And then I'm going to go the same to the other side, so just spin it around. And we'll just mask that bit off. Put that on there. And lift that away. I'll move that to one side so it doesn't run anywhere. I've got a cloth down here, so I'll just tidy that up so I don't put my hand in it. It just brings a little bit more character to that sentiment strip and it adds some more detail to where the sentiment lies. So, right, let's get this built up. I've got my card blank already. We'll use this one. I'm going to get this secured straight into the centre. I think we'll go blue to yellow. It's lovely. Just make sure that's pushed down really well. Okay. So then I want this one to go in the opposite direction colour-wise so it draws more attention to it. If we did it all the same way, look, it'd blend in quite a lot. We'll do it the opposite way, yellow to the top. I want to raise this up a little bit, so I'm going to put some foam pads on the back. It's quite a big piece, this one as well, so we want to make sure we've got lots of support for this one. So, Lynn, will you be repeating the stencil again? Is it not in stock? I'll have to check for that. What I'll do is I'll make a note of your name and I'll message you afterwards, Lynn. I'm not sure if it's out of stock, if I'm honest. It's a great stencil though, isn't it? So it's not just dinosaur related, you can use it across your projects quite easily. Let's take all these backing bits off. I'm going to do this, so it's just stuck out a little bit of this top corner. So if I put that there, you'll be able to see that. So let's put that around there. Make sure that's all pushed down nicely. I love that iridescent. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, but it's really sparkly from where I am. And then we've got our sentiment, which I'm going to put in this bottom corner here. Now, because this is already rose up, I need to double the pads at this side. I'm going to put the pads down there to start off with, just so it helps me make sure that I get some support there. And then if I know that's going there, I need to put the other ones behind here just in a single layer. So let's put it like that. Do that push down. And then we've got our lovely dinosaurs now to put in. I think we still need this one down here so it can be sat down. So let's go for there. Put one behind its head. It'll need 200 its little feet just for the height. And we've got this lovely fella that's kind of walking in from an angle. So I think I'm going to keep him level with this sentiment so it looks like he's walking uphill. Let's get him glued down with some sticky pads. Just get some more sticky pads. And we'll put him coming up this way, I think. And then we've got our last dinosaur that's flying in. So we'll put him right in the top. We'll just put some pads on him ready. Just cut that one down a little bit so it doesn't stick out too much. There we go. And I think we'll have him flying in up here like it's a skyline. And there we go. That's our quite a big card today actually, isn't it? But really good card, using the scoreboards for some kind of texture behind those IZINK sprays. And the black borders just really make it pop. But it's quite simple, and it's all just using those two colours that we've got. So really good use of just, I mean, it just proves you don't have to buy the whole collection. Just buy a couple of colours that you'd like to use and build a card from there. So I hope you enjoyed that first demonstration. And what we're going to do now is going to give you some more inspiration from the dinosaur collection. I'll be back in 2 seconds with your next demonstration. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Welcome back. I can see that, I think Lynn said it was a great card, but she's got to pop off. Don't worry, Lynn. The other one will be on catch-up, so you can always watch it on YouTube. So thanks, and I'm glad from all the comments, I think you all enjoyed that one. Now, this next one's quite a simple card, but it just shows you how you can use those texture pastes to make a lovely background. I'll just try and turn it away from the light a little bit. There you go. So you can see it's got loads of light detail in this lower section with these texture pastes. It's really three-dimensional, but it's such a simple card to do. So let's get started with this one. Put that to that side. I'll just put some paper down so I've got something to protect the work surface. And I've already ahead of time just cut a piece of white card to the size that I want to be using. I'm going to pop that down on there. In fact, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to spray this with a bit of green just to lift it. So I've done it both ways. I prefer to spray it first rather than after. I'm going to use this IZINK spray, and this is the green colour, which is called VERT, and then another French word I can't really say, so we'll not attempt. I'm just going to mix up the mica, just to make sure that's all mixed up nicely. I'm just going to give that light misting, mainly at this bottom section, because we're not really going to use it up here. So I'm happy with that. I'll just bring that out now to dry. I'm just going to give that a quick blast with a heat gun so it sets. There you go. I'm going to put that back onto my piece of paper now. I've got this lovely stencil from the Thirsty Brush range. It's like a knit kind of effect, so it's like the kind of yarn being knitted. So a really detailed one, but it could easily go the opposite way and it gives you a different effect. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to have it going top to bottom. I'm just going to put that where I want it on my piece of card. Anne says she has a green budgie called Verte. So I can manage saying some French words, but some of them do catch me out, I've got to say. Let's put a little bit more of this just to secure it on each side. Okay, and then what we're going to use today is some of this IZINK Pearly kind of like luster texture paste, and it's really nice kind of creamy colour. It's got some mica in there too, so we're going to use some of that today. And a little goes a long way. So I always tend to put a little bit of a splodge in the top corner and then work it onto my actual piece of work that I'm doing. So let's put some onto here. We can always put more on if we need it. So let's put that to one side. All we're going to do is hold the stencil flat and then just bring that across stencil and just push it into the stencil almost. I'll put a little bit more on now from. I'm just going to make sure I get all those little bits of the stencil filled. Make sure it's so easy to apply as well. Just going to make sure I've got those edges. And if you do miss a little bit, it's not the end of the world, because it adds to the effect. I'm really happy with that. I've stripped off all my excess. I can make sure that I'm not going to get that anywhere. I'm just going to use a wipe. It's really easy to clean up. That can go in the bin. I'll just put the top back on this so I don't spill it. And I'm going to pull this up. So if I pull it up this way. And then I'm just going to lift that up. I'll keep my stencil on there, then I can clean that later. You can see it's got like a really nice luster to that, how it's come out. So it will set really shiny like that one if you just leave it to air dry. But because I want to use this straight away in a demonstration, I'm just going to use the heat gun on it. And this sometimes makes it bubble as well, which gives a really nice effect. So let's apply some heat. Just move that out of the way a bit. Just want to make sure that's as set as we can get it, so I'm just going to give it a really good heat. If you hold your gun on in an area, you can see the bubbles start to form. I think it adds a bit more texture by doing that. I'll just give it a bit more heat to make sure it's set. Just a bit more in this top corner. So I'm just going to make sure, yeah, so we're all right. So it just helps us, and those little bubbles do squash flat as well if you don't want them. So I can tap them back down, or you can leave them up. But I think it just adds another level to it, really. Really nice kind of effect on that one. So I've already ahead of time cut a green mount out for this one. So I'm going to get this stuck onto this backing just to give it a nice corresponding colour for the edge. So let's get that stuck on with tape runner. And let's get that into its position. Give that a good push down all the way around. I'm just going to help that keep it straight shape while it's just drying. I'm just leave that over to that side so we can start putting the card together. So I'll just quickly wipe this because I've got some residue on there. Stephanie says, do the bubbles flake off? No, they're definitely in there. And like if you leave them as well, they kind of stay puffed up. But if you do it while it's still warm, you can push them a little bit flatter. So what I've been doing is making it bubbled, and then I've got an old brayer at home, so I can just like squash them all flat. So just different ways into it and what you prefer. Just adds a bit more texture. It's like another kind of effect without having to buy another product. All right then. So now what we need to do is this top half, which is this bit that we've stamped the actual message onto. I fold it that way, sorry. So we've got the raw means I love you. We've got this little character, and then we've got this lovely corresponding kind of cut edge. It's really easy to do. So we'll show you how to do this bit now. So I'm going to bring up my stamping platform. Actually, I'll just bring this other one up. I've cut this piece of CAS. I just want to make sure I've got it the right way, so that's the correct way to go over the top. So just to make sure it's the right width. We're definitely going to be doing it this way. And then I've got the raw means I love you in dinosaur, which I'm going to put a bit of an angle. I'm going to put our friendly dinosaur kind of going in the same direction, the same angle to the actual sentiment, and we're going to pick them up at that. And I'm going to use the green IZINK quick dry ink just to keep it all themed in the same colour. So this is a really nice ink pad. Just to make sure you give a really good coverage. You can always go back in again, can't you, with the stamping platform if you miss an area. I'm going to give that a good push down, look. So I'm going to go in again just to make it a little bit darker. Give that a good push down. There you go, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to bring that off a second. And I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper. And I brought the IZINK embossing powder again. I'm just going to add a bit over the sentiment. And we'll do his character as well, actually. Just so it gives a bit more sparkle on that top bit. So, just bang that off. I'm just going to put my surplus back in the pot. Nearly went everywhere but the pot. That's one side. I'm just going to use the heat gun now to emboss that. So just give it a bit more dimension. And it changes really fast, this actually, these inks, so I'll do the same for his main character. And there you go. I'm going to move this stamping platform out of the way. So then what you need to decide is where you want to actually cut this across. So if I imagine I'm going to layer it onto there, what I'm going to do is picture whether I want it lower or higher with the die strip. And this is just a die strip that I believe was one of the Stamps by Me that came with the layering dies. It was one of the extras. But I'm sure you've got some kind of like fancy edge die at home that you could use. So I think I'm going to do this pretty much just underneath the shell there. I think it'll look nice. I'm going to move that to one side. I'm going to bring in my cutting plates. Put this onto there. I'm going to lay that across. When it's patterned as well, just see where it lines up. So you can see like I've got a groove there on there. I might want to angle it so I get the full scallop going one to one. Just makes it a little bit neater. Let's put that into there and run that through. Sharon says she loves that stencil. It's lovely, isn't it? I can't wait to make Christmas cards of it. I think I'll make a lovely, like, jumper background. It'll just be amazing. It's definitely going to be a go-to stencil in my collection, I've got to say. So just get that out. So we've got our top section now with our little love art trim. And then what I'm going to do is cut another trim, but in the same kind of green that I mounted the background onto. So let's get this put through as well. I'm just going to give that a bit of a bang to get them loose bits out. Here we go. I'll just pop that on there, and we'll pass that through. While we're waiting for that, I'm just going to mount this onto a card blank so it's ready to build up. So we use our tape runner again. Take it right to the edge so it sticks down well. We'll get this onto our card in the centre. Give that a good push down so we're ready to start building us up. So I've got our strip here, look. So I'm going to pull that lower bit off us, we don't need that. And what we can do is we can either shadow it so it just pops out a little bit, or what I found is if you do it off centre, you get the detail like creeping underneath, like the bottom of the little love hearts. So to get that to stick, I'm just put a tape runner line there. And don't worry if it's longer than we need, we can trim it afterwards. I'm just going to put the first one down where I want it to go. I think there, and then we'll just use that as a reference for the other ones. Ooh. I'm happy with that. So turn that over, give that a good push down. I'm just going to trim these extra bits off. And then we're going to put this onto some foam pads just to raise it up a little bit. So let me just grab some foam pads. Well, I've got some foam pads today, haven't I? And get some of those supporting it at the top. Along the bottom. I'll just put a few in the centre so it doesn't sag down. Take the backing bits off. And then we can put that, using this as a guide of where we've got the other piece of card, just level it up at the top. Just use my head a second, and then bring it down, and just give that a bit of a tap to attach. There we go. That's our second card we've got. So, really nice card, really quick, and them stencils and that texture paste is amazing. I love the glossiness. And those bubbles, I really think, make it a little bit more like prehistoric in this case, so it goes with the actual dinosaurs really well. So I'm glad you enjoyed that one. I'll just grab the other card, I can bring it in as well, so we can put both together. We've got two really different cards, using those amazing kind of iridescent products that we've got. And the scoreboard technique is really good. It's just jazzed up a piece of plain card, hasn't it? And give you that extra detail in the background. But have a play around. I'm sure you've got some sprays at home that you've already got, and see what you can come up with. But I'm glad you enjoy those two. I see through the comments that people liked them, and I'm happy for that. So brilliant. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you again next Monday. So see you soon. Bye-bye.